हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम बैक टू माय न्यू चैनल नॉर्सेट क्रैकर्स एकेडमी। आज हम आए हैं आप लोगों के लिए एक नया सीरीज स्टार्ट करने के लिए। आइए देखते हैं। सो यू हैव प्रेफरेबली लिसन्स अबाउट द नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ एंड न्यूरो साइंस, जो कि वी कैन से इट एज NIMHANS. It is situated in Bangalore. So vacancies are regularly coming from the NIMHANS for the nursing officers post, and the conducting exams mostly contains the questions regarding brain and spinal cord and neuroscience, psychiatry and psychology. So we need to study chapter wise, one by one study material we will study together. So kindly stay with my channel. We know that nervous system is divided into mainly two parts, that is peripheral nervous system and central nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is again divided into two parts, that is autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. This autonomic nervous system is popularly divided into two parts, parasympathetic and sympathetic. Now we will see about the central nervous system. This central nervous system is divided into two parts, brain and spinal cord. Our brain is majorly divided into three parts, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. This forebrain we can divide it easily by two parts, that is telencephalon and diencephalon. Telencephalon is the cerebral cortex, basal ganglia, hippocampus and amygdala. And diencephalon consists of the two parts, that is thalamus and hypothalamus. Mesencephalon we can say that is tectum cerebellum, and metencephalon is the part of the hindbrain. Hindbrain is divided into two parts, metencephalon and myencephalon. Metencephalon we can say it is the pons and the cerebellum, and myencephalon is the medulla. Now we will discuss about the parts of the neurons. Neurons are mostly have few parts that we can see. It is the dendrite. Dendrite are always the branch-like structure which receives the biochemical signals or the messages, and from the action, this is the action, you can see this action always carry impulse away from the cell body. So we can see that dendrite receives or catches the signal and action carries towards the next cell body. And with the cover of the neuron is always a myelin, and this is the synapse. Synapse, what is synapse? Synapse is the fatty material. It is the space between the two neurons. In between the two neurons there is a gap. We can say it is a synaptic cleft or synaptic gap. In here we can find the various neurotransmitters. What is the neurotransmitter? Neurotransmitters later we will study. It is few of the chemicals which carries to help the or communication between the two neurons. Now we will study about the structure of the brain. Our brain is mostly divided into three parts, that is cerebrum, second is cerebellum and third is brainstem. So we can see what is cerebrum. Cerebrum is the consist of two hemisphere, that is right and the left. Right hemisphere is the right-handed person having dominant left hemisphere, which is responsible for linguistic, verbal, calculating, arithmetic and analytic function. Non-dominant hemisphere is for the geometric, visual, spatial, pattern and the musical function. Corpus callosum connect the both of the hemisphere. Now the inner surface of the white matter made up of the nerve fibers. What is thalamus? It lies either side of the Third ventricle. It is the relay center of the all information except the smell. What is hypothalamus? Hypothalamus is lies inferior to the anterior to thalamus. It contains the optic chiasma point. What is optic chiasma? It is a point at which two optic nerve interact. And mammillary bodies involve क्या करते हैं इसमें? That is the olfactory reflex and the emotional response to odors. What is basal ganglia? Basal ganglia is located deep in the cerebral hemisphere. It is responsible for the motor movement of the upper and the lower extremities. The cerebral hemisphere are divided into frontal, parietal, temporal and occipital lobe. What is the frontal lobe? We know if we divide our brain into four parts, into four lobes, first lobe is the largest lobe, which is called the frontal lobe. It has some functions, that is concentration, abstract thought, information storage, memory, motor function, and it contains the Broca's areas of the speech. What is the Broca's area? Broca's areas is the only for the production of the speech. What is this? This is the production of the speech. Next, parietal lobe. Parietal lobe is the sensory cortex. Helps in individuals of awareness of the body, like perception. What kind of perception? The taste, space, orientation, spatial relationship. This orientation and awareness is the part of our perception, and it is located in the parietal lobe. Temporary lobe. Temporary lobe is mainly the auditory area where Wernicke's area is present. Wernicke's area is the language development, and Broca's area you can see, which is in the spinal cord, frontal lobe, is called the production of the speech, and it is the language development. Occipital lobe is the visual interpretation. All the visual activities are held in the occipital lobe. Cerebellum. Cerebellum is the separated from the cerebrum by the cerebelli, tentorium cerebelli. It has a excitatory and inhibitory action. It is responsible for coordination and movement. Then what is the function of the cerebellum? The main function of the cerebellum is the coordination and the movement. So brainstem. The brainstem is consists of the midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata. What is midbrain? Midbrain connects the pons and the cerebellum. What is medulla oblongata? Medulla oblongata is the most inferior region of the brainstem. It becomes the spinal cord at the level of the foramen magnum. In the last foramen magnum point, it becomes the spinal cord. What is the structure of the brain? Brain is covered by a rigid skull bone, but there is a fiber-like connections that is called the meninges. Meninges are the covers which cover our brain and the spinal cord by layer by layer. What are the layer? First layer is dura mater. Dura mater is the outermost layer of the brain and the spinal cord. Arachnoid mater, it has no blood supply. This is contains only choroid plexus. What is choroid plexus? Which is a point which only produces the CSF. This membrane also has the finger-like projections called the arachnoid villi, which reabsorb the CSF. This production and reabsorption maintains the balance of the CSF amount in the